I messed up tonight. I lost another fight. I still mess up, but I'll just start again. I keep falling down. I keep on hitting the ground. I always get enough to see what's next. Birds don't just fly, they fall down and get up. Nobody learns without getting it wrong. I won't give up, no I won't give in till I reach the end and then I'll start again. No I won't leave, I wanna try everything. I wanna try even though I could fail.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zootopia Minute podcast, your minute-by-minute podcast where we review our favorite non-furry animated show from 2016, Zootopia. I am your host, Choco, and as always, I'm joined here by my special friend, Simul. Welcome.
Hey guys, what's up? Been a while. Hope everyone's feeling good. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for hanging on. We know it's been a long break, but we've had a whole bunch of exciting stuff happen since our last episode. And now we're finally back for minute 71 of Zootopia.
Woo!
So
71.
for those of you following along at home, that's going to be from timestamp 1:11:00 to 1:11:59. This minute begins mid-sentence, picking up from what Judy was saying in response to a question at the end of the previous minute. She was asked by one of these news anchors, "What can you tell us about the animals going savage?" To which she responded, "Well, the animals in question, are they all different species? Yes." And now our new minute picks up, "Yes, they are." The reporters are all taking notes, and another one asks, "Okay, so what is the connection?" Judy says, "Oh, all we know is that they're all members of the predator family." "So, predators are the only ones going savage?" "That is accurate. Yes, that is accurate," she responds. A pig reporter then asks, "Why? Why is this happening?" in a weird voice like that. Judy responds, "We still don't know, but it may have something to do with biology." At this point, Nick, the camera goes over to Nick, and it kind of picks up on a weird, intriguing face he has. Another reporter, "What do you mean by that?" "A biological component, something in their DNA." Another reporter, "In their DNA, can you elaborate on that, please?" Judy says, "Yes, what I mean is thousands of years ago, predators survived through their aggressive hunting instincts. For whatever reason, they seem to be reverting back to their primitive, savage ways." And at this point, Nick has a very worried look on his face. Then another reporter says, "Officer Hops, could it happen again?" And our minute ends on Judy's line, "It is possible." It's entirely possible, evidently.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah. Remember, the part of the movie we're at now, Nick and Judy have uncovered whatever sort of weird plot was going on with kidnapping these mammals, and it turns out the mayor was behind it, and now they're doing a press conference. And so all these reporters are kind of asking her questions about what's going on, why are these animals going savage, and this is her attempt to answer those questions. Remember, Judy was not sure how to run a press conference. She'd never done it before. She previously, a few minutes ago, got some advice from Nick, and I don't know. Do you think she's following that advice pretty well? I'm not sure.
Well, I guess let's just get right into it. We have a lot to talk about, and this is one of the more tense moments in the film, or it's building up to a tense moment. Very timely, because we just had a few presidential primary debates. So seeing how people handle aggressive questions thrown towards them is very, very interesting, especially when it's a cute little bunny cop like Judy here.
Definitely. I think this minute is interesting because there's a sudden tone change here. Remember, Nick is there kind of to help Judy out with this press conference, but partway through this minute, you can see maybe he's starting to feel a little uneasy about what's being talked about. Because Judy, remember, Nick had been telling Judy to basically deflect the questions, right? Just answer any question you get with yet another question. And she managed to do that in this first question. Yes, they're all the same species. But then it kind of falls apart when she gets a little more specific. After this first reporter says, "Okay, what is the connection?" Judy says, "Well, we know they're all members of the predator family." And all the reporters pick up on that immediately. "So you're saying predators are the only one going savage?" Judy says, "Yes, that's true." Then a pig reporter asks, "Why is this happening?" And Judy starts off okay. She says, "We still don't know." And in my opinion, she should have stopped there, right? Because she could have left it at that, because if really they don't know, that's all you have to tell them. "Hey, we don't know. We'll let you know when we do know," right? That's the extent of her responsibility as a representative of the police department. If the police department doesn't know something, she shouldn't be making anything up. And not to say she's making stuff up.
You sound very aggressive and quick to attack Judy First off, if the police didn't want her to do this, they probably should have coached her beforehand instead of left her with the fox to make the
You're right.
statements.
The guy that's not even like on the police department. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point, but and you're right. They probably could have handled this better, but and Judy is a rookie, so you're right. Okay, fine. Fair enough. Maybe I should cut her some more slack, but personally, like she goes off the rails right away. She should have left it at we still don't know. The trouble comes in when she says, but it may have something to do with biology. And we can tell this is going to maybe not go off quite as well because the camera immediately kind of goes over to Nick, who's looking up from his application that Judy gave him in a previous minute, an application to join the police force. And he kind of takes notice of all this happening with a confused look on his face. The next reporter says, what do you mean by that? Judy says, it's a biological component, something in their DNA. In their DNA, can you elaborate on that, please? And then it just goes totally off the rails. This whole thing could have been probably handled a whole lot better, right? You can tell by Nick's reaction here. Judy kind of goes on this interesting, and here's some other interesting things that happen here too. Let's actually rewind just a little bit here. So in this scene at this press conference here, the way it's set up, we've talked about this a little in previous episodes, but there's this big podium at the front and there's a giant screen behind Judy. And basically at the same time when she starts mentioning this quote unquote biological component, what happens on the screen behind her kind of changes tone real quickly. Initially, it was showing pictures when the press conference began, it was showing pictures of some of the victims that had been recovered, some of the missing mammals that they found. When she starts talking about biology, suddenly the images behind her change and it's all these like dark photos of like enraged predators, like really kind of scary shock media kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
It's
like
a very Alan Moore trope.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just going to say everything's an Alan Moore trope.
You're supposed to be the Alan Moore person.
I know, that's why I'm going to give Alan Moore credit for this. Alan Moore inspired Zootopia. I don't know. But
this scene made me think of Alan Moore and I can't explain why.
Okay, but no, I will say
Alan Moore deserves credit in this movie.
It's very, very comic-esque because when you're reading a comic and you have only individual panels to show as much information as possible, contrasting something with the dialogue is a great way to do it. So seeing this, it's like, oh, that's a very comic way to approach things.
Mm-hmm.
But of course,
what you mean visually?
Yeah, visually. Like having
comics are a visual medium.
They are a visual medium, but they don't
have to use that.
Yeah,
channel.
they don't have the music and they don't have audio. So to balance it out, the word bubbles, the text and the word bubbles normally balance out with some type of tone in the background. And this scene does that similarly, but in the film medium, which I appreciate. I like it. It's very good.
I suppose so. We've talked a bit about like how the camera work, quote unquote, right? Because there's not a real camera, obviously. It's CG.
Again,
but
it's entirely possible.
Yeah, but the way this kind of works when there's a reporter saying in their DNA, can you elaborate on that, please? And Judy is saying, yes, what I mean is thousands of years ago, predators survived through their aggressive hunting instincts. And at this moment, as the screen has been changing to show this like really, kind of aggressive looking animal photos, the camera goes to Nick and he's like circling around to get a better view of the front of the podium. And it sort of pans past his face and we see all these images on the screen. And it's these really like nightmarish images. If you look closely at them, it's like there's like a leopard in a muzzle, there's a bear, they're all wearing muzzles basically. I don't know what the last animal is, but its eyes are like just black, pure black. And we've talked about that too, that transition when the animals go savage in this movie. I believe I pointed that out previously, that the whites of their eyes become much less prominent, which is a psychological thing that does make them seem more animalistic, right? Because there was some study saying like parts of why humans are scared of some animal faces is because it's harder to tell what they're feeling, because humans are very emotive and to communicate with each other, we rely on emotional cues. And if you can't pick up on that, it kind of makes you nervous, right? This last picture, I don't even know what it is. It's like a wolf or something in a muzzle, but his eyes, it doesn't even look angry or scary. It almost looks sad. And you can see this is having a profound effect on Nick, because Nick is looking at these photos and suddenly we get a view into his head. Suddenly we're seeing that Nick is sort of flashing back to his, it's not the Boy Scouts. What are they called in this movie?
Wilderness Explorer. Wait.
They should have just said Cub Scouts, but that's copyright, I suppose.
something because I think Wilderness Explorers is
whatever it
up.
is. It went back to that scene
we have
from
to
his
look it up.
childhood. Okay, look it up. I'm gonna keep going. You look it up.
Junior Ranger Scouts.
Junior Ranger Scouts, that's it. Yes, thank you. He's flashing back to that scene from his childhood that he had told the story about to Judy, how he was teased when he tried to join the Junior Ranger Scouts for being a predator, and they put a muzzle on him.
Oh no,
and so he's
PTSD.
having this, yeah, he's having like a PTSD flashback kind of moment. So we can see it's having a profound impact on him. This is like a very interesting point in the movie where, you know, Nick is kind of a level-headed guy so far, right? Like, he's always been the cool cat character. He can keep a level head. He's not...
he's a fox, not a cat.
Yeah, exactly. So we're seeing some vulnerability in Nick now. And seeing those images, like, I feel like this definitely affects the audience as well. Actually, you know what? The black and white photos of the sad-looking animals make me think of those, like, animal shelter ads, like, in the arms of an angel. You know, the ones that you hate seeing because they make you feel guilty.
Yeah, and you have to donate to them.
It's like when you walk into a pet store and it's like, don't make eye contact. Exactly, that kind of thing. So maybe some high-flung emotions here. And I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. What do you think?
Yeah, so they're obviously trying to represent his PTSD. Nick's character has changed a lot in all the revisions and scripts, and they had to... I think, you know, the more I watch this again and again and again and again for this show we're doing, I kind of agree more and more with my dad that the tragic event he experienced back as a cub. I guess they're called kits, right? Young foxes are called kits.
Yeah.
Back when he was a kid, he went through that tragic event that one event heartened him to the world, and that's the one linchpin of all the flashbacks he's been getting. And I kind of agree with my dad. I'm not sure if it wasn't too shoehorned and forced into it. I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's important because it's showing that, like, something about the way he views Judy is probably about to change, right? I mean, the last frame we get of his face before it goes back to Judy during this flashback sequence, his sort of worried look is slowly transitioning into a sort of almost angry look.
Yeah.
It's kind of subtle, but you can definitely see it. It's
something I noticed that's in almost every single Disney movie. Now people say Disney movies, specifically the animated princess-style movies, all have the same cookie-cutter formula. They are formatted a very, very specific way. And I kind of noticed this myself because I am a writer and I am involved with the history of works like Disney. I actually did do a layout of like classical Disney and Renaissance era and new Disney films, and I found out they do have a cookie cutter formula, but almost every single Disney movie has this exact same point. No matter, and Zootopia is very, very different than like Beauty and the Beast. It does not follow in that formula.
You're talking about like cookie cutter in terms of narrative.
Yes, there's like a very, very
right.
It's like
I thought at first you were going to talk about like how you can see the reused animation between Jungle Book and Robin Hood or whatever.
Yeah, that's a thing too. But they have very, very similar beats. You know, a young person does not like their small town, wants to get away for all that similar stuff. But there's one thing I noticed that's in almost every single Disney movie, and it comes at the 2/3 points. It's past the point where the hero meets up with their love interest or friend, and they think everything is going to be good. They think everything is going to turn out well. They overcame some event. They just defeated a villain or a minor event. Think everything is going to be good, and all of a sudden the two best friends or the two couples, one of them misinterprets the actions of another, and they have a fight and they split apart. So with
you have mentioned this before,
with Little Mermaid, Ariel thought Eric was cheating on her and went away. The Beast thought Belle abandoned her and left. Aladdin and Jasmine finds out Aladdin is is really the street rat, not the prince.
Road to El Dorado.
Yeah.
Friends never say goodbye. Or is that DreamWorks?
That is DreamWorks.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. It's not just Disney then.
Yeah,
it's
but
just a trope.
And I think it's kind of gets annoying because the only way to introduce conflicts in these movies is to get the two main characters to not trust each other and fight, or split apart. And when they split apart, they're weaker alone. And after noticing that, it just got a little bit annoying. And I love Zootopia. Zootopia is one of my favorite movies of all times. But watching it over again, and I'm realizing, that's the exact same thing that they're doing, and they are forcing. I don't know if it's forced, but it just just seems like it's there. I know they have to get to the next beat, so they had to insert this somewhere. I think they did the best they can, but I don't know. I'm not really buying it, to be honest. But I will say the thing in this scene that I like better, that did it better. Okay, what they're trying to do with Nick, which I thought was well done, is when you look at the press conference, and all the animals are freaking out and asking Judy, "Wait, is it just predators?" And they're like, and she's like, "Yes." You could see the reporters. One of them, a gazelle, is asking like, "Wait, why is it just predators? Or is there a reason we shouldn't trust predators?" And all of a sudden, you see all the prey reporters in the crowd all of a sudden acting nervous and scared, and all the predator animals just turning to the prey and like, what are you talking about? Like, they have that look on their face. It's like, wait a minute, you think there's all of us? Specifically, if you freeze frame at the scene when the gazelle reporter is asking Judy some questions, you could see the tiger and what looks like a Pumbaa character instantly turn and just face her with a what the hell look on their face.
I see people turning, but like I don't see a specific difference in reaction
But
between
I
the
think
predators and prey.
that scene did what they're trying to do here better. I think that scene is better. It's like really, really subtle, and it's really, really nice.
I still think the whole issue with like, this is Judy's fault. Like, if anything's gonna happen here, like,
it's the police department's fault. She's a representative of the police department.
Yes, but I'm saying in the moment, there's some common sense stuff here that she should have. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Judy doesn't seem like the type to be like, I'm in front of a camera, I'm on TV, I'm gonna use as much time as I can and like pump myself up.
This is like her first job. I don't think she's even been on the job for a week at this point.
But listen, like, she first says, okay, we still don't know. She should have left it at that. She says it may have something to do with biology. And then, okay, think about it this way. The comment about biology is based only on what she overheard.
Yeah.
From the honey badger character or whatever, the scientist.
I mean, I think it's fine. It's just the blame is definitely on the police, not Judy. This is a dumb hick bunny. Like, not okay. She's not dumb.
Okay,
but
now them's fighting words.
This is a bunny who's come from the equivalent of a hick hillbilly town where she probably didn't have a college education. She probably did not have much interactions aside from negative interactions with predators as a kid, as we saw in previous minutes. And all of a sudden, they're putting this new recruit who's probably been on the job for less than a week to give a press conference when...
I agree.
I know.
I'm just saying that Judy, being in that position, still should have had some common sense, and she didn't. Because she's reading into these details. She could have said a biological component, something in their DNA, and even that's too much to say. She could have left it at that, but then, this is the worst part, is when she's saying, what I mean, she goes into this tirade. What I mean is, thousands of years ago, predators survived with their aggressive hunting instincts. You know, like...
It's okay, you might think it's
for
common
whatever reason,
sense.
maybe reverting back to their primitive, savage ways. It's inflammatory language.
I
feel
know,
like
but she
either
doesn't
knows
know
exactly
that.
what she's doing. No, she either knows what she's doing or she's just an idiot. That's what I'm saying.
I think that's
either
the point.
way.
She is an idiot. And I don't think
Okay, we agree.
I know, but you seem to be putting the blame on Judy.
We agree.
Because you say it's common sense. It's not common sense from her perspective. From someone coming from like the military academy background and stuff, it's the police department that is not following the common sense. They shouldn't have put this small town bunny in this important position without briefing her of what to say.
Okay, we'll put it this way. It would not be good for the police department to look at the situation and say, hey, Judy, you screwed up and we're reprimanding you. If that were the case, they should say, okay, yeah, we shouldn't have put you up there by yourself. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying is, after it's already said and done that, like, she's going to be the one up there, I feel like common sense for most people would have said, don't say stuff that you don't know.
Common sense says, do not put her up there without briefing her first on what the talking points are.
I agree. I
think the buck stopped at the police department, not Judy. I think when you let someone ramble, look at our president. He just rambles on whatever. Like,
well, the police department has other stuff to deal with, considering that the mayor of the city was just arrested, right? So maybe it's just not at the top of their list.
This is a big talking point because the reason he's arrested is because of this case. This is the first briefing from the arrest. This is the most important briefing of this entire case.
I mean, if anything, we can give props to Disney for like accurately representing how well municipal governments work.
I know. I'm saying it's good. There's things in the scene that they attempted, which I thought fell flat, but there are other things in the scene that they thought they did subtly really, really well that you wouldn't see in like a DreamWorks or a Illuminations film. Like I again, props to Disney, because I was thinking if this plot was given to any other studio, I don't think they would like hit the same little subtle beats that Disney's done.
Well, the minute concludes with another Beaver reporter saying Officer Hops could have happened again, to which Judy responds, "It is possible." And that's where the minute ends. It's entirely possible. It's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible.
I hope our listeners are familiar with the origin of that joke.
Our listener.
Hey.
Okay, listeners. Oh, yeah, we have two fans.
So, I mean, it's a pretty interesting minute. It's a big turning point, I think. I mean, as far as, like, Judy and Nick's relationship may go, we'll have to see what happens in the next one.
Yep.
But, I mean, from the look on Nick's face alone, I can say, like, that... Judy, you probably screwed something up there.
Yeah, big time. And just seeing how Biden has been acting this,
Oh, boy.
these
The
last...
not Zootopia part of the podcast.
Well, I'm saying, like, no political things. I'm just saying the responses Biden has been giving to random reporters, I think is very, very similar to what Judy's doing here. Just give comments that he thinks are completely innocuous and actually have a lot of common sense and are justifying his points, but then not realizing that they could be easily read the wrong way.
Well, yeah. Judy's also probably a bit more lucid. I don't know. But anyways, we'll put that away for now. What we should take out of the box now, I think we should unpack some of the cool stuff that we've been up to since the last episode, which, as you guys all know, was before BronyCon happened. And BronyCon happened August 1st through the 4th. We're recording this in like the second week of September. So it's been quite a long break. So I know we say this a lot and we take breaks a lot, but we do want to thank you guys for sticking with us. Hopefully, we'll be able to keep a tighter schedule now that like most of the big con stuff is out of the way, yeah?
For both Simul and I, BronyCon is literally the biggest event of the year for us. And this BronyCon was the biggest final one. So we do thank you for keeping up and staying with us even through all the delays.
Yes, indeed. And if you came to our panel on Brony fandom history at BronyCon, thank you so much. We had a really fun time. I think it went even better than the one we did last year. So thanks for coming. If you were there.
we knew what we were doing. We knew which jokes to hit, and we had a late night panel as opposed to the previous one. But the previous one, we were put in the over plus 21 room.
Yeah.
Which they had to check everyone's ID card before they, like, we weren't...
Well, they put you in that room on accident, right? Like, you didn't actually request it. It just ended up that way for some reason.
Yeah, we didn't request an adult panel. We weren't doing an adult... It was kind of all ages. And they put us in this, the plus 21 room where they had to check everyone's ID card. And there was also a bar there, so you can imagine. So by the time everyone got in, we only had, like, probably 30 minutes to speed through our panel.
Yeah, so I'm glad they let us go long on that. But anyways, yeah, this year's panel, I thought it went really well. We have some footage of it, so we might put that up someplace.
Yeah, we'll put it on one of our channels. Not this channel, but probably on one of our channels. We do want to thank our friends for being there, and our fans. We've had some interesting fans who popped up the last few cons that we've been to. One person who I thought was really fascinating, who I'm impressed was a fan of ours, was the creator of Sonic 2, Chris Chan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we met Chris Chan.
Christina Chandler, as she goes by now. She actually waited in line for the Q&A portion of our panel just to tell me that she loved my comic. So that's really nice of her.
Shout out if you're listening. Thanks for coming to the panel.
Yeah, so that was great. We had a really, really good experience at BronyCon. For me, record sales. Like it's very hard not to brag, and I'm trying not. I'm going to brag, but the amount of money I made at this one event was crazy. So as a comparison, all my profit I made last year, I made this one BronyCon. Sad thing is, as a starving artist, I know this is not consistent. It's not going to last. But I do want to thank all the customers who went to my booth and bought things for me. Thank you for making it happen. It was a crazy experience. It was 4 nonstop days of consistent selling. Like, there was very few moments during those 4 days where I did not have a line at my booth.
Yeah, I saw that. That's probably the densest crowd, especially like when it opened on the first day. And that's what made this interesting. So I guess, yeah, let's not get too into the weeds, I guess. We'll just sort of give general impressions on how this went. But, you know, it was the last BronyCon. It's a big deal for a lot of people who have dedicated a large portion of the last 10 years now to the Brony community. So, I mean, it was an emotional weekend for a lot of people. I thought it was a really good time. But you're right, yeah. Being the last one, there was a huge draw. So this was the biggest BronyCon there's ever been. It capped out at like 10,215 attendees, I think, which broke the previous record from 2015 of 10,011. And it was only that big because it was the last one, because people wanted to get in for the very final BronyCon, something that's been a big part of many people's lives for a long time. So I'm glad you did well. And I did see that. It was helped, of course, by the epic Hoofbeats yo-yo pin and and your very nice all-over pony meme shirts, which I have one of those as well. Those were very good.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was a really good event. You did a good job as Hoofbeats. I took a few pictures and recordings of him in action as one of the BronyCon mascots. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to miss that.
Yeah, how does it feel to now be the chair of what's currently the largest Brony convention?
I don't know if it's fair to say that if it's like if we haven't had one since the previous oldest one ended. You know what I mean?
True.
I mean, I'll take it if you'll give it to me, but...
Well, I'm not adding it in the history book yet.
Right. Well, yeah, I don't want to talk about Everfree too much. That is a big thing.
That's for another time.
Yeah, we'll have plenty of time for that. But BronyCon. So yeah, as many of you know, I am, for the last 5 years, had the privilege of representing Hoofbeats, the music mascot for BronyCon, as in an official cosplay capacity on behalf of the convention as BronyCon staff. And I'm going to miss it. It's hard for me to think of like specific things I can say about it just because it's 5 years. I mean, it feels like a long time, and also it feels like just yesterday that I started. It's
just think
weird.
about it. It's longer than your entire time in high school.
That's weird. See, oh gosh, man, and just all the same kind of drama too. Well, no. Won't get into that. No, I'm going to miss it. It was such a fun job. It was a really unique opportunity to kind of get a chance to represent the convention, like the public face of the convention. And I think the thing I'm going to miss the most about it is just the really cool interactions that I and the other two mascots would get with attendees. We heard a lot of life stories, people saying that the Brony community, or that BronyCon specifically, had like brought them out of a dark place in their life. It's crazy how many people would come up and just say thank you. And it's kind of odd because being someone who works for cons in a much different capacity than just being a mascot for Everfree, for instance, I know there's a whole lot more that goes into making a con work than just having mascots there, right? But because we were the front face, a lot of the thanks would be directed at us, and I always tried to do my best to kind of pass that along to the rest of staff. But I feel like the thing I'm going to miss the most about BronyCon is just that feeling of knowing that the event was really making a difference to people and just making them happy. But I mean, like, I'm not like super upset about it. I'm out of like a vacation plan for next summer because we would always go to Baltimore in the summer, all us bronies. But
yeah,
you know, I'm not so much of the opinion that like I'm sorry it's over. It's more I'm glad it happened. You know,
I do want to bring that up. We've developed an interesting friendship because of BronyCon.
We only met because of BronyCon.
Yeah, and we've done a vacation for the last, 5 years? 4 years, I believe.
Not 5. Can't be 5.
Yeah, it was at least the last...
or 4.
Yeah, it was the last 4 years. We've done some type of vacation after BronyCon.
No, not 4 either.
No, because the first time it was Baltimore. We did the Baltimore
was that
Science
2016?
Museum. Yeah, we did the Baltimore Science Museum. Then the year following, we did our first time in DC. And then the year after, we did Six Flags and then DC. And then now we were back in DC again. And I
miss DC. I'm going to miss Luke's Lobster the most.
We'll plan something. I also want to give a shout out to one of our friends and fans, Bravery. He joined us for this trip this time, and he helped drive us down to DC. So thank you very much for helping us with that. But yeah, that was a great experience. I was thinking about how much BronyCons meant that it brought me and a lot of our friends together. Like, I met people like you through BronyCon as well. BronyCon was really the last place I saw a lot of old friends. Specifically, a lot of my friends who I came up with in the community through Tumblr, like Jordan Aaron Wiggles, who actually does the Blank Canvas mascot, and a lot of other friends on the Tumblr community. I haven't seen them in almost 5 years, and this was the last time I saw a lot of them. I'm not even sure when's the next chance I'm going to see a lot of these people.
Yeah,
again.
that's the other thing. That's the other big thing is like I was at the staff Dead Dog party when everything was over on Sunday at BronyCon. I remember thinking like, how many of these people am I like never gonna see again? It's a weird thought. The only reason I know these people is because of this event and the event's ending.
So I kept saying this, and I think a lot of my friends echoed the same feelings, but it really, really felt like a graduation, like a high school graduation. Like leading up to BronyCon, the final prep to prepare for BronyCon, it felt like, getting all the last exams done, packing up, getting my graduation speech ready, outfits, and then, having that graduation ceremony, eating dinner with friends for the last time, hanging out for one last night, and all of a sudden everyone goes in different directions. You're never sure if you're going to see them again, but it really did feel like graduation, this entire experience.
Yeah, it's that kind of bittersweet feeling, But hey, again, like something I've been trying to reiterate to people, BronyCon is not the entire fandom, right? There's so much else happening. Everfree's still going. There's all these other cons still happening. And the fandom is more than just cons, too. I mean, the online presence has always been like the primary channel through which the fandom communicates and where stuff tends to happen. So
nope, the fandom's dead. Go get a persona and join the furry fandom.
Well, it's not dead yet. We still got about a month until the last episode on October 12th.
Well, only for us Americans. Apparently, Australia and Europe.
Yep, and I've been
China
avoiding the spoilers, and
I've been avoiding, and then
so far.
And then Ben accidentally opened a GIF that spoiled the ending.
How dare he open a GIF?
He didn't know if
better. He should know better.
Ironically, he likes inanimate TF, so anytime he sees something tag inanimate TF, he opens it, and yeah, so... Anyways, just to quickly wrap things up for the BronyCon thing, that was great. One thing I am very, very proud I was able to arrange and organize, and I was hoping to do this for like the 10th anniversary, but obviously this was the last BronyCon, so it couldn't wait till then, was get all the previous con chairs on stage and do a little interview discussion with them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Specifically, this is very helpful because if you guys have been following me, I've been working on that convention history book. Yeah, I know it's taking too long, but I'm working on it. I've been working on that convention history book, and it is known that the different con chairs, the transition between BronyCon chairs has not always been peaceful. There's not really been peaceful transitions, and in fact, they even told me this was the first time all 5 of them have been on the same stage together when they did my panel. So I'm really, really glad I was able to make that happen. Have the founder of BronyCon, Purple Tanker, have Andrew Brockett, the second, and one who incorporated it, have Josh Dean, the guy who really made it big in Baltimore, have Jenna, who tried to take it into the more Western animation route, and have Sheer, who basically finished it off, had all but one of the BronyCon chairs on stage to interview, and that was a really great discussion. I recorded, Simul actually helped me record it, so I also hope to post this up on a YouTube channel somewhere in the future.
Yeah, that was a really fun panel. I'm glad I had time out of the schedule so I could see it.
So a lot has happened. I did San Diego Comic-Con, I did Anthrocon, I did BronyCon, obviously, Otakon, Megaplex, and PersonaCon. Just quickly, I just want to say at Anthrocon, I met the VA of Haida, the hyena.
Oh,
Haida.
yeah.
I met him. It was great. He came to my booth.
You gave him a badge.
I gave him a badge that said "Gay for Haida." He signed it. He signed one for me. It was amazing. Oh, I also gave him a custom badge that says "Haida is human Sona," and he was wearing it the entire con. That was great.
That's his Twitter handle.
Yeah. At the most recent con I did, for SonaCon, Hurricane Dorian hit. Ironically, it didn't hit me in Florida, which I was planning to, but I was traveling alongside a hurricane in my plane, and we actually flew into part of the hurricane. But I made it safe, and I had a fun con there. And then Megaplex was the con that was right after BronyCon, literally the week after BronyCon. So it was a rush to Orlando, but because I did so many cons back to back, I took a mini vacation, and since the con was already in Orlando, I decided just to spend a week at Disney. And that was a amazing experience. I can't get enough of Disney. The big thing that really happened that I liked was I had a friend who was staying with me the first few nights, and after he left, I decided to take it easy because the first 2 days was me trying to show him everything within 2 days. So I went to the parks on Friday. I woke up very, very late. I woke up in the afternoon and just kind of wandered into the parks. I decided to put on I had a Nick Wilde shirt and a Nick Wilde hat, so I decided to put that on. And I wandered into the park, and apparently Nick and Judy were doing meet and greets in front of the main street. And Disney Disney World has never had a Nick and Judy meet and greet. They used to have Nick and Judy on the parade floats. Sometimes they are marching in the Halloween parade, but they never actually had a meet and greet. So I got to stand there and wait and interact with them. It was raining, so they had to cut off the line. So they cut off the line, and they had me as the last person to see them right before it started raining. And so I got to have this nice long interaction with Nick and Judy. Nick was great. He was looking at my outfit. Judy was amazing. I actually told him, because I am actually friends with the Nick Wilde at Disneyland, at the Disneyland resort. I told him, hey, I'm friends with the Nick Wilde at Disneyland. I think they actually misinterpreted it, because cast members, when you say you actually dress as a character, you say you're friends of somebody. So I think they actually misinterpreted me as being one of the Nick Wildes. So they got like really, really friendly with me. I gave them pins, which was very nice.
How
I gave them
friendly.
yeah, well, I gave them enamel pins. It was I get the cast members actually took some really cute pictures of me giving them pins. Like Judy was just really looking at her pins. Nick really liked my pins. They were looking at all these enamel pins I designed. In case you guys don't know, I'm a professional pin designer. I've done both freelance official designs and fan pin designs. So I got to show off all the different Zootopia pins I made. And on the way back, because they had to get into the shelter because it was raining and the suits get damaged in the rain. So the other cast members normally have to walk with these the suited characters so they don't trip, because unlike I guess furry fandom fursuits, these are not meant to be really seen through. So but instead of like grabbing onto another cast member's arm, Nick grabbed onto my arm and like had me escort him to the Main Street Police Department
and fell into his arms.
It was
right?
really nice. But the funny thing is, once we got to the the dry shaded meet and greet area where it wasn't raining, Nick had me stand with Judy, and then he basically darted away. Because I was dressed like Nick, and I think he assumed I was the Disneyland Nick Wilde. I think he basically wanted me to fill in for him, so he actually ran away. It was like the most amusing.
Watches you just
sight.
somehow get swept into a back room, and they like start putting a costume on you, thinking that like you're the next shift.
You know, I think they kind of wanted me to, but it's like I didn't want to. Can
you imagine that? This is the story of how I infiltrated Disney and got to be one of their characters without anyone noticing.
Well, definitely for a future episode, we'll have my friend on to talk about that. But no, it was fun. I felt bad because there was a line of like people waiting. There were like kids and other fans waiting for Nick and Judy. So I did leave. But every time I walked by, they would wave at me and try to rope me back in to the situation.
Wow.
But actually, as I was leaving the park, the Nick Wilde character just happened to be walking around, and he recognized me and like high five, like gave me like this cool high five, and this went on his way. It was great. And these were actually the Nick and Judy that signed, because the Nick that I met at Disneyland, they actually do not do autographs, but this Nick Wilde does do autographs, so that's great. So Nick and Judy appear. I don't know if it's a temporary thing, but they are no longer in the Move It Shake It parade anymore. The last time I was there, they were doing meet and greets specifically only on Friday. So if you're at the Magic Kingdom at the Disney World Resort on Friday, you most likely can see Nick and Judy. There is also the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party that's happening right now in Disney World. I believe they are leading the parade for the Not So Scary Halloween party, so make sure to check that out. And then quickly, D23 Expo also happened around the same time as the cons we were just doing. I wasn't able to make it to D23 Expo this year, but they did announce that the Zootopia Land is actually coming to both Shanghai Disney and Hong Kong Disney. So both Hong Kong and Shanghai parts are going to have the Zootopia Land, and they should be opening within 2 years or 3. So make sure to check that out. Cool.
And there's also some other Zootopia news. We've previously talked about the rumors of Zootopia sequels, but now we actually have some confirmation on Zootopia 2, and there is a 3 coming as well. So I think we'll save that for next time because we're running out of time here, but definitely tune in for that episode, and we'll talk a bit about what we know about Zootopia 2. Should be fun. All right, cool. We started the episode on Zootopia. We ended it on Zootopia, so it's like a nice big sandwich where the meat is how our lives go, I guess.
Will we consistently upload after this point? It's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible.
It's entirely possible.
It sure is. All right, guys. Well, that is going to do it for this episode of Zootopia Minute. Thank you so much for listening. If you did enjoy the podcast, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also give this video a like. And you can also follow us on Twitter at Zootopia Minute, like us on Facebook. And if you've got anything you want to mention to us at all, just give us your thoughts about basically anything whatsoever related to the show. You can send those to zootopiaminute@gmail.com. All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody. Take care.